Here's more wrestling news for October 24th, 2021. And your headlines for this afternoon include AEW and Impact Wrestling's partnership is coming to an end, WWE's original plan for Hit Row's Smackdown debut, WWE announces title match's new era begins on Raw next week, WWE never considered Bryan Danielson on Roman Reigns' level, fans attempted to sabotage MSK on WWE NXT, WWE couple gets engaged, WWE needs to keep an eye on major advantage AEW has, warns Booker T, and more. We're starting with Bound for Glory, as last night's show saw a new Impact World Champion alongside new Knockouts champions and Knockout Tag Team champions be crowned, but Impact's biggest show wasn't the only option for wrestling fans. AEW also hosted their latest Saturday Night Dynamite last night, which had to go on without Christian Cage, who lost his Impact World title to Josh Alexander. When Ringside News asked a source close to the situation, they were told that the partnership between AEW and Impact is ending after Bound for Glory, meaning that talent will no longer be appearing on both shows. Unless AEW and Impact can work something out, then the dream match between Britt Baker and Deonna Purrazzo, a match both women want to happen, won't take place until they're both signed to the same company. Bound for Glory 2021's kickoff show aired during last night's Dynamite, ironically the same trick AEW pulled with last week's Rampage buy-in event during Super Smackdown, but for now, the forbidden door is closed between the two promotions. Over to SmackDown, as Hit Row debuted for the Blue brand this week, as the 2021 draft results have now come into effect. On the show, Isaiah Swerve Scott and Top Dollar dispatched of two local talents with ease, but this wasn't the original plan for their debut. Fightful's Sean Ross Sapp reports that on the original match listing, Jinder Mahal and Shanky were meant to face Hit Row, which obviously didn't make it to TV. We can't say for sure if Mahal and Shanky would have been so easily dispatched of by Hit Row, who are expected to have a huge push on the Blue brand in the coming year, but Mahal and Shanky were able to avoid taking the pin, at least for this week. Tomorrow's Raw will mark the first episode of the Red brand with its new roster, but the more things change, the more they stay the same. On WWE.com, it was confirmed that a Crown Jewel rematch will take place, as RK Bro are set to defend against AJ Styles and Omos. WWE also billed this coming Monday's show as the season premiere and a new era, and we'll see new Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch return to the Red brand with the title she never lost. With Raw continuing to struggle with viewing figures, a solid season premiere is exactly what's needed right now, which makes us question why exactly WWE is promoting a match that we've seen multiple times already as the start of a so-called new era. Roman Reigns kicked off the season premiere of SmackDown this week, boasting about his Universal title defense at Crown Jewel. Defeating Brock Lesnar, the Beast is the latest addition to a long list of victims of the Tribal Chief, including Braun Strowman, Edge, Kevin Owens, Cesaro, John Cena, and Daniel Bryan. The last name is now in AEW, competing under his real name Bryan Danielson, but only after becoming a multi-time WWE World Champion and WrestleMania main eventer. Despite this, Bryan was reportedly never seen backstage as a top guy, as the Wrestling Observer newsletter notes. While they absolutely liked him and they saw him as a star, even as he saved a WrestleMania and sports teams throughout the country were doing yes chants, they never thought he was the top guy and that Roman Reigns was, because they know more than the fans. Now, Danielson is in AEW and expected to become AEW World Champion down the line, but despite his success in WWE and unabashed popularity, he was never on the level of Roman Reigns. Social media can be a very toxic place, and when it comes to passionate fans who take things way too far, the world of pro wrestling is no exception. That's something NXT's MSK know all too well, as the reigning tag team champions often face a hostile reaction when they appear, despite being both faces and two of the most talented names on the roster. MSK has been receiving heat ever since they debuted on NXT this past January, and Bodyslam.net has now finally given us a reason why. In their report, they write about a Reddit post which mentions a tweet by Nash Carter sent out 3 years ago, in which he berates a spot at an indie show that saw a 13-year-old take a chokeslam. That teenager turns out to be Izzy, the Bayley superfan, and the post explains that her parents took offense at Carter's words and managed to turn a group of vocal NXT fans against both Carter and, by association, Wes Lee as well. This reportedly led to NXT management asking Izzy's parents and their sympathizers to change seats ahead of NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver, as the higher-ups didn't want their anti-MSK chants to be caught on camera. One member of the group was especially tasteless, encouraging others to chant "Your dad is dead" at Nash Carter, whose father passed when Nash was still in high school. People may not like what Carter said 3 years ago, but that chant clearly crosses a line, as the best course of action would be for everyone to move on from one post by Carter from years before he joined WWE. In much lighter news, we have some big news from Corey Graves and Carmella, who are officially engaged. On Twitter, the former SmackDown Women's and 24/7 champion shared a photo of herself kissing Graves, showing off her engagement ring in the process, calling it the best birthday ever. The happy couple has been dating since early 2019, and we'd like to offer our congratulations to both Graves and Carmella on this joyous news. Since forming in 2019, AEW has gone from strength to strength, with huge leaps in 2021 by signing the likes of CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, and Adam Cole. For many fans, AEW can do no wrong, especially compared to WWE, whose years of 50-50 booking, bad angles, and pushing unpopular names as the top of the company has turned away fans in droves. Speaking on his Hall of Fame podcast, Booker T discussed the numerous issues facing WWE at the moment and the major difference he believes exists between the two companies. One thing I think WWE, the company that I worked for, needs to keep an eye on, one thing that I've always noticed is, if you see AEW on television, it looks like it's a lot of people there and it looks like that everybody's having fun. You feel like you missed out on something. You're like, man, I wish I had been there. Man, that looked awesome. It looks like they're having a whole lot of fun. Both WWE and AEW have their own philosophies when it comes to creating content, but when it comes to talent in the ring, Booker believes that those in the All Elite promotion are far happier working for Tony Khan than Vince McMahon. In 1997, WWE debuted a new match type for the company, which we now know today as the Triple Threat. For such a simple concept, the idea of three superstars wrestling had never occurred on TV before then, but the match has undergone some dramatic changes since that first match. Speaking on the most recent Grill & JR, the AEW commentator discussed the original idea for the Triple Threat and why the match had to change. When I first started booking these Triple Threat matches and started them way back here, they were three ways until there was one winner. So you had to have 2 pinfalls, 2 decisions, and the talents complained about that to the old man, Vince McMahon, not to me, and they changed the rule. And I didn't like that, but that's how it went. The idea of 2 falls determining the winner was an idea WWE stole from ECW, who called the match 3-way dances, but the WWE put their own spin on the concept only after superstars skipped the then head of talent relations and went straight to Vince McMahon. And we're ending with Brian Knobbs, who was hospitalized last month after a serious fall, but the Nasty Boys member is doing much better. Spotted in a recent photo at his rehabilitation center with Ric Flair, Knobbs has lost a ton of weight, 60 pounds to be exact, and has got a lot more energy than the last time we saw him. In the caption, it's said that Knobbs has a rocky road ahead of him still, but he's working hard to recover from this fall, and thanks everyone for all their love and support. Knobbs' rehabilitation schedule no doubt keeps him busy, but he had time to get a visit from the 16-time world champion, and we're thrilled to see Knobbs in much better spirits than the last we saw him. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.